Hello and welcome to the ISL Podcast. Today with me, we have our typical host, Bruno. Bruno, hello.
Hello, Ivan. Hello, guys.
And our guests today are Leah Smith and Simona Kubova from the TOK Overall. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone.
First of all, thank you so much for making it to the podcast. It means a lot to us. And just to start things off, I mean, you guys were part of a rookie team, TOK Overall. And I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about the season in general? How did it go for your team? Because it was the first season for TOK Overall. You guys made it to the semis, which I believe is a great result, but you didn't make it to the final. Are you satisfied with this? Leah, do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. I don't think we were satisfied with not making it to the final. I think that we definitely believed in ourselves to make it there, but I think that we were happy with our results as a team and kind of our entrance into the league, but definitely not satisfied. So I think that we all left the league with kind of a hunger for next year, which I think will be really great. But yeah, I think we did a great job just getting ourselves out there and showing that we're a force to be reckoned with. And I think that just made us hungrier for next year.
Did you set any goals before this as for your team yourself?
I think, yeah, when I saw the rosters for our team, I was super excited and I believed that we could make the final. And I know that that was our goal from the start. So as a team, we made that a goal as well.
Got it.
But yeah,
Thank you.
Personally, I don't think I made any goals since it was the first meet in a really long time.
Yeah, makes sense. The goal was to get back in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand. Simona, how was it for you? How was the season in general from your perspective? And did you set any goals for yourself and the team coming into ISL 2020?
Well, I think we had a great team because also when I read the names on the roster, so I was very happy to be in that such a great team and such a good team with very great swimmers, and I was very honored to be a part of this team. And I think we left all in the pool. I think we tried to do our best, and we were a little bit sad that we didn't make a final, but I think we swam very well results. So I am very happy that I was the part of this team. And I had some goals. Yes, I wanted to swim my best. I wanted to get better in my backstroke events. And yes, it happened. So I broke my national record. So I was very happy to do this. So yeah, I wanted to be I wanted to play a role in this team. So, and it happened. So
yeah, you definitely did.
And talking about, the season overall, we know that the team was a rookie team. It was the first season of the TOK Overall. But both of you had already swum at ISL. Leah, you with the LA Current last year, and Simona, you with DC Trident. So tell me about your decision on moving to the TOK Overall and how both of you reacted to the roster, seeing that most part of the team was Japanese, and of course, maybe some language problems could have been there present. So how was that for you?
Yeah, so I was on LA Current for the previous season, and it was a fun experience, and it was definitely really cool to be a part of the ISL. And I knew most of the people on LA Current, so thinking about switching to Tokyo, I knew that I wouldn't know a lot of people, but I think something about it, just I wanted to try something new and something exciting, and I wanted to be a part of building something. So that was really exciting to me, the prospect of being a part of the Tokyo team. And I wasn't really swayed by, thinking, oh, I might not be able to speak Japanese, because I knew some of the people on the team, just a few, and I knew that they had a really great staff, and that we could make sure things ran really smoothly, and they did. So that was great. We had people translating during practice, and there's ways to communicate people that aren't just speaking their language. I think we were all trying to learn a little bit from each other, and we did.
Did you learn something in Japanese?
Why am I forgetting everything I learned? Yeah. Well, I already knew arigato, which is thank you. I think oyas minasai is good night. I'm definitely forgetting a few things. But yeah, once I'm back, immersed in the team again, I'm sure it'll all come back to me.
What about for you,
Leah?
Simona?
Leah, just like a quick highlight. Seeing the Japanese team get after you on one of the last 400 freestyles was something surreal. All of them yelling "Leah, Leah, Leah," something you don't typically see from the Japanese. It was really cool to see, but you could really tell that you guys bonded through that. In a way.
That was really sweet. I think I have missed that feeling since being done with college swimming, of just like a whole team behind you. And so that was like really cool to be immersed in that again. And like that just made all of us want to swim a lot faster for each other.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Simona, how was it for you?
It was a great experience because I come from Europe, and at the first season I was competing for the American team, DC Trident, and the second season for the Japanese team. So this is quite a different teams. So I was very happy to be the part of the first season because I wanted to know the American swimmers and everything. And on the other side, the Japanese were so hardworking. They were so kind people. I was so excited how they are working, how they are talking. They were smiling all the time. So it was a very good atmosphere in the team. And I was very happy for this chance to get know the Japanese culture and all the people, Japanese coaches, because they were trying to talk to us in English. So it was very nice to hear them that you did a great job, and it was so good.
Thank you, Simona. Leah, Simona, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the upcoming Olympic Games. So both of you are Olympians, and you already had your Olympic experience. But my question to you is, heading into these Olympics, do you expect them to be a lot different from the previous Olympics because of COVID, because of the delay, because of the entire situation in the world right now? Do you expect them to be any different?
Yeah, I think that what's interesting in thinking about what the Olympics could be like is, so typically leading up to the Olympics, you have all these meets to prepare. So World Championships for us, Pan Pacs, for Simona, European Championships. And you think that's preparing you, and then you get to the Olympics and it's just a completely different experience. There's so many different things going on and so many different sports, and you're in a village and there's a lot of things going on. So I have been thinking recently that I do think the Olympics are going to look a lot different, just like with just some of the social aspects, being in a village with thousands of people. I don't know what that's going to look like. Being in a mass dining hall, that was one of our experience. I don't know what that will look like. And I think, we should probably wrap our minds around kind of that things might be a little more secluded in terms of people going to different places and associating with large groups of people. So, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. I don't know what things will be like by then, but I think that ISL definitely did a good job of preparing us to think of a swim meet in a different way. Just kind of, here's some things you might have to pay attention to other than just racing your fastest. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Leah. Simona, what do you think about the upcoming Olympic Games?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be different because all of the situation is happening right now. So I think we will have to wear a mask. We will have to do some PCR tests all the time, and I hope there will be some spectators in the crowd, because if not, it's going to be quite sad because it's the Olympics. And I have big memories from the first Olympic in London 2012, and it was a dining hall where all the athletes were meeting in the dining hall, and I don't think it's gonna happen in Tokyo again. So I think it's gonna be a little bit sad, but I think it's possible to make the Olympic this year, because we could see in the bubble in Budapest ISL it was possible to make a great swimming competition. So I'm sure it's gonna happen, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be different. But I hope it will be a big Olympic experience as well. It's gonna be different.
Thank you, Simona. And I'm glad you mentioned the ISL bubble, because yes, ISL succeeded in hosting a meet during this global pandemic, but we did it with a bubble with only 400 or so people. Olympic Games are much on a larger scale, and it's a good question if they're actually going to be able to create this bubble. And I see one of the alternative routes to the bubble, and no way am I an official of the Olympic Games, and I don't know what route they're going to take. But it seems like the other route they might take is mandatory vaccination for the athletes. If we picture for a second that you get an email from your federation saying that the only way you're going to the Olympic Games is through having the vaccine, do you see yourself having the vaccine? Is that no issue for you whatsoever, or would you be a little bit concerned?
That's not an issue for me at all. I would, if someone could vaccinate me tomorrow, I would get it. But I think that you might run into some problems there with accessibility. I think like working backwards from the games in July, to get everyone from every country vaccinated before the games would start would be a pretty difficult task. I just, here in the US, I think they're rolling out vaccines and they're still in phase 1, which is essential workers and healthcare workers. So I think that it'll definitely be a challenge, but I'm hopeful that everybody can work together and try to get things moving.
Thank you, Leah. But I believe athletes should be quite a priority when it comes to vaccination, because you guys set an example for everyone. If people have a look at you guys, see you get vaccinated, perform in the Olympic Games, break some world records potentially, everyone's going to say, oh, maybe all this fuss about the vaccine being not ready, not there yet is not really, doesn't have much value to it, doesn't have much truth to it. And you could be a great example for the kids and for the deniers, let's put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
But Simona, what about you? Would you take the vaccine if this was the cost of the Olympic Games, or are you still kind of on the fence with it?
Well, I think I'm going to be vaccinated in a few days because
yay!
That's great.
Yeah, because I'm also working as a physiotherapist, so that's why maybe I'm at the first line, let's say. But also the Czech Olympic team is trying to do his best to vaccinate us all who is qualified for the Olympics, or who is close to the Olympics. So it was said that we should be vaccinated like in the middle of the January. So maybe it's going to be 2 days later. So I don't know. But
okay.
That's great.
For sure, I will be vaccinated. So because the situation is quite hard, and if I want to work as a physiotherapist, I have to be vaccinated. So yeah.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Definitely.
Thank you.
That's great to hear, actually. And talking about the vaccine, COVID-19, the Olympic Games, 2020 was a very difficult year for a lot of people. And let's put this into the preparation aspect. So everybody was hoping that the 2020 Olympic Games were going to happen. They didn't happen. A lot of swimmers did not have access to pool space, maybe gym, the training was a little bit different than it was used to be on the years before the pandemic. And a lot of people involved in the swimming community thought that maybe the times were not going to be very fast, and we saw that on the ISL 2020 that was not even the case. Everybody was swimming very fast. Simona mentioned that she was breaking national records. Leah Smith, you had an amazing season in your 400 freestyle. Every time you swim it, dropping it. So what do you think the 2021 Olympic Games are going to happen? Seeing in the time how people are going to swim. And what do you think the 2020 this past season of ISL help you in your training and your development going into the 2020 Olympic Games?
Yeah, honestly, I sometimes I think that swimmers tend to overtrain because there's not really an off season. And so when this all happened and I knew that some people would have to take weeks or months off of swimming, I personally have taken that amount of time off of swimming, and it gave my body the rest that it really needed, and just really like rejuvenated me. Now, you know, it's easier like to look back on it after you've built yourself back up and say, oh yeah, 2 months is, you'll be okay. But I think that you're talking about like in a year, can you build back up with 10 months? And I definitely think that's possible. And during the months that you have off, if your body's kind of just healing and getting the rest it needs, I think that's okay. So I wasn't too concerned that I would have to take a large chunk of time off. I think I was more concerned with when that chunk of time would align with different meets. That's more what stressed me out. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. What about for you, Simona? Were you concerned because of the lack of swimming time? And how was your preparation mentally and physically going into ISL and into this year?
It was very hard time for me because I'm not so young now. I'm 29, turning 30 this year. So it was very, very hard for me mentally to get ready for the Olympics because in March 2020, I didn't believe that the Olympics, if it's possible to cancel the Olympics or postpone. I couldn't imagine that it can happen, but it happened. So I wanted to know what to do like in future. And when I get the opportunity to compete in the ISL, it was like the light in the dark because I saw something that I can prepare for. So I was very happy I can be part of the ISL team, and I did my best. I wanted to leave the all in the pool, in the dry land, everything. I wanted to do the best for the team because I wanted to succeed in the ISL. So yeah, I did my best, and I think I tried to do my best till the Olympics 2021 because it's probably going to be my last Olympics. So I wanted to do the best, and I want to represent my country as good as possible.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. I mean, you have a lot of experience. You've been to 2 Olympic Games. So how was the difference between the ISL, that what you have seen, and those big competitions like Europeans and Olympics? What's the thing that stands out the most for you?
ISL is specific. That is the team competition, and I don't know exactly the team competition as I get know in the ISL in the International Swimming League, and it is a great experience for me because when you are competing in the Olympics or Europeans or Worlds, you are competing for mainly yourself and your country. But here you are competing for the people, for the friends, for the team. And Tokyo Frog Kings has 32 people, and you are the only one. And you don't want to get sad the rest of the people. You want to do the best for the team. And this is the specific of this ISL swimming season or competitions. So because it's not individual, it's team. So that's the most important for me.
Yeah. And Leah, I wanted to ask you about, I mean, you mentioned before that in the ISL, once you come last season and this season, of course, with Tokyo Frog Kings, that in the past, you've never experienced that since you were in college with the University of Virginia. So tell me that difference between being in a professional environment, in a swimming team environment as a community, as you were with Tokyo Frog Kings, and the one with comparing that to the NC2A system.
Yeah, I think that It's definitely hard to compare them because there's just nothing that parallels college swimming, but I also think there's nothing that is the same as the ISL. But I was like kind of reminded of how amazing it feels when you're like scoring points for a team and you're just in that super competitive environment where individual glory is like really not the main focus. And I think that at international meets like Worlds and different, domestic competitions, it's, you have teammates and you're very excited for them, but there isn't really a team race that everyone's kind of paying attention to and is a part of. It's more just like, putting on your best for your country. And I think that when you introduce teams and kind of you have the environment where we're training together, it just adds a different dynamic. So that's kind of what reminded me of college swimming, was that I got to train with these people every day, and then we got to compete on the in the matches, and you just get to be really invested in what other people are doing and kind of where you fit in. You just want to, perform for your team. So I think, that's just like, I feel like there's an extra level that I can unlock when I'm swimming for something or someone that's not just me.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you, Leah.
mentioned scoring points. I mean, a lot of the times that you swam that 400 freestyle, I mean, you were ahead of the field by far away. And I wanted to know your perspective about the jackpot rule, because in the short events, there was the presence of that rule was more present than in the long distance event. And also, the ISL implemented the 800 freestyle for the men. And I was wondering, if you will have swum that race, how will you approach that, considering the amount of points that there was given in the certain stages and the prize money, of course.
And what do you think about the 800 free in general in the ISL format?
I love the 800 free. I feel like I loved the 1,000 in the NCAA format. I think the 800 is really fun because there's time to have a little bit of strategy. It doesn't just feel like a complete sprint, which to me the 400 does feel like a sprint. And so there's not a lot of room for error in terms of like how you take it out. And so I think I would be pumped to swim an 800. And I also feel like, in college my coaches were always trying to get me to like back half my races, and I would be like I'd jump in and just sprint the first half and then try to sprint the second half too. So I feel like it's exciting that they're testing out new things with the 800 and different, you might see different strategies, because I'd love to just dive in and sprint and see if I can hold on. That sounds kind of fun to me because I do that every day in practice. So I
You
think
enjoy the Leonardo Santos approach, do you?
I think also like the jackpotting was hard in the 400 because I think it was like 10 seconds that you had to do it. But every time I dove in, I was honestly just trying to swim the fastest possible time that I could swim and score points. I think the jackpotting was pretty difficult in the longer races.
Fair enough. It's interesting to hear because a lot of people thought it was easier in the long distance races and harder in the sprint events. I believe it depends who you speak to, but
maybe a sprinter would think it was hard, and so maybe we just think it's our own task is harder.
Possibly, but also it seems like 10 seconds on a 400 freestyle is quite the margin.
Yeah, well, and when you it is pretty big.
Thank you, Leah. And Simona, a question to you. You mentioned that the 2021 Olympic Games might be the last for you. Do you mind opening up on why? If that's too personal of a question, just let me know and we'll back off.
At first, I wanted to say that it's funny to hear that 400 free is a sprint. So
I know it was interesting to
Yeah.
hear for me as well.
That's funny.
very funny because even 100 is a sprint for me. So yeah, it's funny. 2021, yeah, because I'm turning 30, so I'm not so young. So that's why I think I'm not able to swim next 3 years because I'm turning 34, and it's quite a lot for swimming, I think. And actually, I got married 2 years ago, so maybe I want to start to have a family next year, or how it's gonna be possible. So yeah, and for me, it's very hard to keep concentrate on the Olympics because it's it's a very for me. It's a very stressful competition to be part of the Olympics because it's only every 4 year, and you wanna do the best. You wanna swim as the best results you can swim. So it's very hard to keep focus on the Olympics for me. So I can't imagine to swim next 3 years for the next one. So, and I think to be a part of 3 Olympic Games as a Czech team member, it's a great swimming history, great swimming career. So I think it can be enough.
Sure. But hey, Nicolas Santos is pulling off PBs after 40.
Yeah, I know, but he's a boy, he's a man, so it's quite easier for men to swim in the higher age. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
fair
that's
enough.
a great point, the one you made, the one you made there, because one of your best times were when you were very, very young, 8, 7 years ago, and just a few months ago, are going to turn 30, as you mentioned, and you broke your national records. So tell me what you were doing during your training, because I mean, not everybody is able to do their PVs at 30, 29 years old.
Well, I'm a difficult personality because I want to be the best and perfect in every section of my life. Like it's school, it's swimming, it's work, it's everything. And always when I was swimming, I was training, I wanted to do the best in the training. I wanted to get better every race I swim. And I had the great seasons in 2012, 2013. I swam my best times. I won the European Championship. And in 2014, it got worse because I wanted more and maybe I wanted more a lot. So it was quite hard to get back. And just after the Olympics in Rio, where I swam very, very bad, I keep focused on the next Olympics, next races, my PBs, and I did everything for it to get better. And I am very happy it happened. So yeah.
Thank you, Simona. And if maybe not the next Olympic Games, maybe you just stick to the ISL.
Maybe maybe because I think the ISL was the best competition for me. Yeah, because I get to know a lot of people I wouldn't get know in the Europeans or worlds. I met the Japanese swimmers and it was amazing for me because I didn't know the Japanese culture. And I was very surprised how smiling they are, how supporting they are. So it was great for me.
Also, something that surprised me with the Japanese swimmers, they were so playful, both in the water and outside of the water. They seemed like they were always having fun. Something you don't see in the Western swimming as much, in my opinion. Would you agree to that?
Well, they are having fun actually, because I was very surprised that, for example, we had 2 Japanese backstrokers, Rio and Natsume, and they were rivals, but they were the best friends. So I was very surprised of this because Rio and also Natsume wanted to swim the best. They wanted to be in the team. They wanted to swim backstroke. They wanted to swim everything. And they were the best friends. I was very surprised, and it was very nice because I think it's very hard to have friends when you are the biggest rivals in the pool. So it was very nice. And outside the pool, they were having some group meetings and they are having dinners together and everything. So it was very surprising for me, but it was very nice and kind.
Didn't you guys have a sushi night also, one of these nights?
Yeah, we had, but unfortunately, I don't eat sushi, so I had to go to the dining hall to have my
Oh,
dinner.
no.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Simona. And Leah, actually, we're receiving some questions from the fans, and you've just received one very interesting question, in my opinion. It goes, Leah, if you were able to change your talent to become a sprinter, would you do so?
No. Sprinting honestly sounds really stressful. I feel like you mess like one little thing up and it's like, oh, that was a second and that cost you a lot. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not saying that I feel like there's room for error on other races, but I feel like sprinting is just everybody's so close together. It sounds really cutthroat. And I feel like with distance training, it's like there's just more room to make a lot of gains. And I mean, so yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like, I don't think that I would change anything about myself as a swimmer, like, because I feel like that would mean that I have regrets or that I'm not happy with how the past years of my swimming have gone, and I am. So, yeah, I don't think I would change anything. I mean, do I think it would be nice to add more sprinting capability? Definitely. So if there's that option, I would add that. But no, I don't think I would just transition.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. And also another question to you, Leah. You come from a very sporty family. I believe you have very famous baseballers, you have famous boxers in your family. How did you come to swim?
So the side of my family that has a lot of athletes and is super competitive and athletic is my dad's side. And also on my dad's side, they're kind of just a very active family and they love the beach and going on like vacations and stuff. So swimming became a really important skill just for everybody to have because they were all going to be going on these big family beach trips. So my parents kind of felt the same. They wanted to be able to take us to the beach and have us be they really felt like swimming was a very essential life skill, which I also believe too. It makes me sad when there's someone, like in their adult life who doesn't know how to swim, because I know that it can be really hard to learn as an adult. So yeah, we got involved in swimming just, for kind of just to learn and make sure we had those skills. But then I think my parents really liked that we all were kind of drawn to it. And my dad swam competitively until he was about 13 or 14. So I think they liked that they could drop off all 4 kids at a spot where they would just be in the pool for 2 hours, and it was easy and they knew we were getting a good workout, and yeah.
They don't have to worry about you. You're occupied. It's perfect activity, sure.
And I think we were all just like so full of energy, and swimming's like a great activity for like a hyperactive child because you just have to keep swimming back and forth. So
and then you're totally depleted of energy after, especially if you're a distant swimmer. Exactly.
You're really tired and hungry and you go to bed.
Exactly. Did you have to give up any sports for swimming?
No, not really. I guess my brothers did because they had interest in them. So my brothers did baseball and football, and one of them had to give them up and the other one chose baseball. But I didn't feel that I was good at the ones that I tried, which was ballet and softball. I just wasn't good at them, didn't have a lot of confidence in them. I didn't really apply myself in them. I kind of went to make friends. So when I got older and I started traveling for swimming, my parents had said that I needed to pick one, and it was sort of a no-brainer that it was going to be swimming.
And talking about your beginnings, Leah, when did you find out you wanted to swim in college and become a professional swimmer? When was that moment?
I think probably when I was 14 or 15, I started dropping a lot of time and kind of had realized that some of my times would rank really well in college swimming. And that's sort of what got me really excited at the prospect of college swimming and being a part of a team like that. And like, I was like, I can score at NCAAs and like really make an impact with a team. So that was kind of the age that I started thinking about that. And then when I was maybe 16 or 17, I went to my first meet representing the US on a junior national team. And I like won some medals there. It was the Junior Pan Pacs in 2012. And we swam against, I think, Japan, Australia, Canada, and Mexico. And just like competing for my country there made me really feel like it would be so exciting to keep doing that. And yeah, and then when I finished college, I knew that I still loved swimming and wanted to keep doing it. So I wanted to be a pro.
Fair enough. Thank you, Leah. Simona, I have a question to you. In the swimming community, there exists somewhat of a myth. And it states that in order to be a very good swimmer, you somewhat have to give up your social relationships and your relationships with romantic relationships. But let's put it this way. Yeah, you got married 2 years ago and you're setting your PBs now. Can you please open up a little bit about how hard is it to maintain a serious relationship when you're a professional swimmer? And how did you manage to manage it?
Well, I'm not so social person. I'm not so talkative, so it wasn't that hard for me to keep focus on swimming. But I met my husband right now 5 years ago because we studied the same university and we are coming from the same home city. So we just met each other. We had we told it like a work date because we wanted to get to know each other. And because he's also a physiotherapist and he is traveling with the teams as a physiotherapist, mainly winter sports, it was quite hard to make our schedule to see each other. So we just trying to do the best for us to see each other as much as possible. And yes, we fell in love, and he proposed me like maybe 1.5 year just after we met, I think. And since that time I got better in swimming. So I don't know, maybe I just keep focus on the other life, because when I'm mostly concentrated on swimming, my swimming performances aren't so good. So maybe that was the reason I got better, because I thought about the home, the shopping, what to shop, to eat at home. So yeah, maybe that was the reason that I got better.
Thank you, Simona. And I believe this is an excellent point you're making, because I had this very similar issue when I swam. I would focus on swimming too much and it will take too much of my life. And then it felt like if I don't win at this competition, all this effort, all my life leading up to it was a waste. And once you end up putting something into it, mixing it up a little bit, it's a lot less stressful when it comes to the actual meet, in my experience.
Yeah, it's same for me, because when I did the state exams at the university, it was my best years in swimming. So yeah, because I keep focused on school because I wanted to finish my degree. So yeah, I got better in swimming also. So, and when I finished the master degrees, it was in 2015. I didn't have a school, so I started to study PhD. So I finished this year in March. So maybe I had two things to think about: the PhD studies and the marriage. So maybe that's why I'm swimming my best times.
There you go. Yeah, maybe you should add some more worries in your life, and all of a sudden. Thank you, Simona. And a question to both of you. Looking into the next season of ISL, what do you feel like the Tokyo Frog Kings must do differently, must change in their approach to be more successful next season? Is it just recruiting, or is it something else?
I don't know. I think, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there were some events that we could have been stronger in. I think sometimes if like the skins didn't go our way, that kind of really changed the outcome of the meet for us. And I think some areas, I mean, I feel like I'm not a contributor on relays, so it's hard for me to say, yeah, we need like some of our relays could be better. But just knowing that that's where a lot of the points are, for me that is definitely an area that we could be better in, just because I know some of the teams that would win or were in contention to win the whole thing, like the Condors and Energy, you know, they could get like 1-2 in a relay. And I think that in order for us to really continue to keep rising and be a threat, we need that relay power. But other than that, I think, yeah, I mean, just experience is also what we needed, which we got. So I think you'll definitely see us be stronger next season.
Thank you. Simona, would you agree?
Well, yeah, I think we had this amazing distance swimmers because they won all the events like for IM to IM for free. And sometimes with the jackpot points, but we didn't win the jackpot points in the sprints and the relays and the skins. So I think we should have stronger sprint events like 50s and 100s, and maybe it can get better our team and make it into the final. I think so. Yeah, I think mainly to win the jackpot points in the sprints, because, for example, with Nicolas Santos almost swam the world record, he won more than 30 points. And we finished second, third, but still it's only 13. So yeah, we need to win and get stronger in sprints.
Got it. Thank you. And Simona, another question to you. When I look at the Japanese team, something that stands out to me is technique. The technique is just absolutely superb, and especially when it comes to backstroke. The technique of Japanese backstrokers is just insane. When you have a look at the Asuka area swim, it's just an aesthetic delight, at least for me. So my big question to you is, did you find anything for yourself that the Japanese do differently and you could implement in your own backstroke? Do they have any secrets you might reveal to us in terms of their technique preparation, maybe?
Well, I think that they are working very much on their posture in the strength training, because they are working in the strength like very properly, like they are doing every exercise very, very in the great technique. And I think they are transferring this technique from the strength training to the swimming. I was also very surprised, for example, when I saw the 400 IM of Yu Ohashi, and she swam the backstroke and she swam quite fast times, but it looks like she's swimming down, or just it was very easy swimming. So
exactly, and no splash at all. It's insane to see.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I also remember the first watch of Ryosuke area. It was in 2009 World Championship, and I saw him to swim the 200 back, and I said, like, just like, who? It's backstroke.
His first world record, right?
Yeah, yes, and it looked so easy. So I think they had very good posture, and they are working very hard on their posture in their strength training, I think. So maybe that, yeah, that's the reason they are swimming so beautiful technique.
Thank you, Simona. And Leah, a question to you, sort of of a similar matter. The Japanese swimmers also seem to almost never fade. They're always strong on the second half. Is there anything specific they do in training in order to achieve that? Something you can outline for us?
Yeah, I think one thing that I noticed differently about their workouts is like, and I don't know if what this would translate into, but I think that, you know, to me, it sounds like it would help have a good strategy and just be strong throughout, is I felt like the workouts that we did were kind of like a flow, whereas like in the US we do just like a big main set, and it's like multiple rounds of it. Like you might do 5 rounds of a bunch of different things. And I felt like the workouts that we did, you just sort of flowed throughout the workout. So like a lot of like really efficient smaller sets, and they were still really hard, but you really only focused on one thing at a time, instead of like, okay, here you did the first round, now you have 5 more rounds. You're just like repeating. So I think that was something different that I noticed, and I feel like that helped me in the workout just feel like, okay, this is all I'm focusing on right now. I need to do this really well, and I will worry about the next part when it comes. So I feel like that can help your race strategy, so you're not just like putting too much on your plate at once. And so yeah.
That's really interesting,
Yeah.
Leah. Would they reveal the entire practice to you before the beginning of practice, or would you receive it as the practice goes?
No, we would see it before, but I guess it just was like a different format than I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so many different little sets that I didn't even really look ahead too often, because I wasn't trying to memorize like all the little sets we were doing. So I just felt like that helped me take things one step at a time.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you, Leah.
And talking about the racing that you did in Budapest, I mean, both of you had an amazing meet. Did you have any plans to keep competing before the 2021 Olympic Games? Maybe for you, Simona, in Europe, there are not a lot of meets, but if there are you planning to compete? And for you, Leah, I know that there are going to be Pro Swim Series this week and in a couple of months. So what are your plans looking ahead?
I was going to go to the Pro Series this week, because there were 3 sites, and there was one site that I could drive to that was 6 hours away. But because the hospitals there were at capacity, the meet was canceled, which I totally understand. But then I was invited to another site that I would have to fly to. And if I fly here, I would have to quarantine for a week. And I felt that it wasn't really worth it to take a week off of training and miss another week of training for the meet itself. I felt like taking 2 weeks out of my training environment here would sort of disrupt things. So I am planning, maybe as things get better, to play it by ear and see if I can go to a competition maybe in March. But we'll see.
Okay. And your trials, maybe schedule, is still the same that it was in 2016, or are you planning to maybe try some new events?
I may try some new events. I now have the cut for the 2 IM, the 4 IM, and the 1500, which I didn't have the IM cuts in 2016, and the 1500 wasn't an event. So, but adding 3 events to my already 4 would be a lot of things to swim in an 8-day meet.
Yeah.
So I will just have to figure out where that all goes.
Okay.
And what I want to do.
Perfect. Thank you. What about for you, Simona? Are you planning to compete in these few months before the Olympics, or how is the situation there?
It's very hard to say now, because it's a lockdown in the Czech Republic, so all the pools are closed in the Czech Republic. So it's quite complicated to think in the future. But we can have Europeans in May in Budapest again. So that's what I want to compete in. And yeah, there are some domestic competitions, and maybe we go to Stockholm Open. It's at the beginning of April, so I hope it's gonna happen. But I don't plan anything else. It's also hard to plan some training camps, because no one knows what's going to come next day or next week. So just keeping focus on training now and thinking about the Stockholm Open, Europeans, and the Olympics.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you, Simona. And Leah, Simona, we know that you're busy athletes, and we don't want to keep you too long on this Tuesday evening. Leah, for you, it's probably day. But before we let you go, we have a little blitz prepared for you. Could we go from Leah to Simona? It will be 5 quick questions. You don't have to get into too much detail. Just a quick response will be okay. All right?
Okay.
All right, here we go. What age did you start swimming?
6.
6.
What is your favorite event to swim?
400 free.
100 fly.
100 fly. That's an interesting response. Okay. Who was your childhood hero?
Katie Hoff or Natalie Coughlin?
It was a Czech swimmer, Ilona Hlavačková. She was a backstroker, so yeah, her.
All right. Thank you. Your favorite team logo and team uniform? Counting out your own. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, what?
Sorry.
I think that Toronto had some cool colors. I like London's. I would say overall London probably. I love green, and I think that the lion is cool.
The line is definitely hella cool. Simona, what about you?
Frogs and green, of course.
But you can't pick your own.
No, I think so, because I love green. I think we were, they could see us from like every place in the world. So yeah, I love that. And my mascot was a frog. So I just brought the mascot, the most famous mascot of the ISL. So of course, it's frog.
All right. Simona breaks the rules. It's still the Tokyo Frog Kings fair, no matter what. Okay. And what is your favorite sport to do, counting out swimming?
I haven't had time to do any other sports. I feel like I've been waiting for a long time to get into skiing because I think it would be so fun, but I don't want to break my leg or neck or, and then have to take several months off of swimming. So maybe it'll be skiing one day, but for now, maybe like basketball. I don't know, but I do that like once a year.
Okay, what about to spectate?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, basketball. Basketball or baseball. Probably baseball.
Okay, thank you. Simona, what about you?
I love to play volleyball and I love to ski. Yeah.
Skiing. Do you ski or snowboard?
Snowboard. I prefer snowboard.
Hell yeah. And favorite sport to spectate outside of swimming? Or do you spectate sports in general?
Maybe some athletics.
Athletics?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Leah, Simona, thank you so much. That about concludes our podcast. But just before I let you go, any final words to the fans of Tokyo Frog Kings? Maybe even a couple of Japanese words.
Oh, I just remembered another thing that I learned. I think yoku gambata is good luck. So if any fans are little swimmers out there, good luck in your upcoming year of swimming. And thank you so much for being a fan of the Frog Kings. And thanks for having us.
Thank you, Leah.
I don't remember so many Japanese words, but konnichiwa. And yeah, thank you for cheering for us in the previous season. So thank you.
Thank you.
They say bye-bye, and it means bye. So
that's simple to remember.
Yeah.
But with that, that about concludes our podcast. Simona, Leah, thank you so much for joining us. And for all the spectators watching, we will have another podcast happening this Friday, and our match analysis happens as usual on Sunday. Please join us. And with that, goodbye, and thank you for watching. Bruno, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.